All right, welcome back. I'm super excited for this one. So in this lesson, we're gonna get clear on the definitions. If you were ever confused or wondered what hormones actually are, what menopause really means, and why these shifts feel so dramatic in your body, we are going to cover all of that today. I've had far too many women, even friends, who don't know if they're in perimenopause or menopause. So hopefully today you will walk away with a more clear understanding. Now, first things first, what's a hormone? Hormones are basically your body's text messages. They're chemical messengers made from glands like your thyroid, your ovaries, your adrenals, and they travel through your blood to tell your organs what to do. When those messages are strong and clear, everything feels smooth. But when these messengers get weak, scrambled, or stop showing up altogether, you feel it everywhere. That's what's happening in menopause. The messages your ovaries used to send loud and clear are now fading, and your body is trying to adjust to the silence. So let's go over the key stages you need to know about. First is perimenopause. This is the transition leading up to menopause. Usually starts around your 40s, but sometimes late 30s. The majority of women who hit menopause are around 45 to 55, and perimenopause can happen anywhere from 2 to 10 years before that, meaning some women will experience perimenopausal symptoms as early as 35. In perimenopause, hormones are on a roller coaster. 1 month they're high, the next month they're crashing low, and that's why you may feel unpredictable symptoms. Heavy periods one cycle, skip cycles the next, and mood swings that feel out of nowhere. We will talk about why that happens in a bit, but most providers will further break down perimenopause into stages, like early and late. So I just want you to be aware that you may hear this at times. So menopause is officially defined as 12 consecutive months without a period. It's one single day. So if you go 11 months without a period and then you start having a period, you got to start over. That is not menopause. So it is 12 consecutive months. And then on that day, you've hit menopause. The average age in the US is 51. And this is when your ovaries stop releasing eggs and your hormone production basically drops dramatically. Now, post-menopause, this is every day after menopause. When people say I'm in menopause, they are actually referring to this stage, being post-menopause. In this stage, you can still have a lot of symptoms that continue for years. Premature menopause, this is when menopause happens before the age of 40. If it happens before 45, it's termed early menopause. Surgical menopause, this is when the ovaries are surgically removed. Now, many women get hysterectomies, but that doesn't mean your ovaries were taken out. They actually leave them in unless you have like the BRCA gene or elected to have them out. If you had a hysterectomy but kept your ovaries, it might be harder for you to know when you've gone through menopause. And that's where testing would be beneficial. We will get into testing in a later video. What's happening in your body during your reproductive years is that your ovaries are like conductors of an orchestra. They keep estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone in rhythm. So each month follows a pattern, which is why your mood, energy, and appetite often felt cyclical. This is called your infradian rhythm. Women have an infradian rhythm, which is like a monthly cycle, and we also have a circadian rhythm, which is like your 24-hour cycle. As you move through late 30s and 40s, egg quality usually decreases, and the ovaries don't really keep time as well. So in perimenopause, estrogen and progesterone start swinging up and down unpredictably, and some months it'll be way too high, other months it'll be bottoming out. That's why perimenopause can feel so chaotic. That's also why if you ask for testing at this time, a lot of providers will say it's not necessary because the next day your test can be totally different from the day that you took it. Now, by menopause, the orchestra has basically stopped playing, and estrogen and progesterone are very low, and testosterone continues to decline more slowly. So let's talk about the key players here. Progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. So progesterone is usually the first hormone to decline. Often in your late 30s and maybe your early 40s, think of progesterone as your chill hormone. It balances out estrogen, calms the nervous system down, helps you sleep, and stabilize your cycles. Your body only makes progesterone when you ovulate. So basically each month after you ovulate, after the egg is released, the follicle becomes something called the corpus luteum, and that's what produces progesterone. As you move into your late 30s and 40s, ovulation doesn't happen every cycle. No ovulation and no corpus luteum means no progesterone. So you may not ovulate and produce progesterone every month. So when progesterone starts to drop, here's what you might notice. You might have shorter menstrual cycles. So if you're regularly a 28-day cycle, your period might start coming every 23 to 25 days. You may have heavier bleeding because progesterone's job is to hold the uterine lining in place. Without it, that lining starts to break more dramatically, so you'll get heavier bleeding and possibly even spotting. And remember I said progesterone is kind of like the chill pill? You may experience more anxiety, irritability, or feeling wired but tired, since progesterone normally has that calming, almost anti-anxiety effect. You might also notice trouble sleeping, waking up in the middle of the night, or not being able to fall back asleep. This is why perimenopause feels so erratic for so many women. They don't notice that this is what's happening. They think menopause is all about hot flashes, and they don't realize that the insomnia, anxiety is like the earlier signs. And next comes estrogen. And here's the tricky part. It doesn't just steadily decline. In perimenopause, estrogen swings high and low unpredictably. And on the high side, you might notice breast tenderness, bloating, irritability, or heavy cycles. On the low side, hot flashes, night sweats, your mood dips, and brain fog often shows up. And then over time, as you get closer to menopause, estrogen levels stay consistently low. That's when your cycles start to space out, and maybe you'll get cycles every 2 to 3 months until they completely stop. So when it comes to your periods, estrogen builds the uterine lining, progesterone holds it in place. When progesterone is gone, but estrogen is still coming and going, bleeding can be heavy and clotty and erratic. Later, when estrogen itself falls, your cycles become lighter, more sporadic, and then will eventually stop. Okay, now let's talk about testosterone, which often gets overlooked in women's health. Here's the surprising fact. Women actually make more testosterone than estrogen in their body. Every day, your body produces about 10 times more testosterone than estradiol. And testosterone peaks in your 20s and then begins to slowly decline, starting in your late 20s to 30s. And by the time you reach your 40s, you've already lost about half of your peak levels. So after menopause, testosterone continues to decline gradually, and many women are down to a quarter of what they had in their 20s. So what does testosterone actually do? It's your spark plug. It fuels libido, motivation, muscle strength, your confidence. When it's low, you may feel flat or tired, weaker, and less interested in sex or intimacy. Don't get me wrong, libido is more than just testosterone deficiency. Estrogen does play a big role, and there are other factors as well. But let's talk about why all of this matters. These hormones aren't just about reproduction. They touch nearly every system in your body, your brain, your bones, muscle, heart, metabolism, your gut, and even skin and hair. When they start to decline, every system in your body shifts. So if you've ever wondered, why do I feel like a completely different person? The answer is because in many ways you are. Your hormones are changing, and those changes affect your entire body. And here's the most important takeaway. This isn't your fault. You are not lazy, you are not broken or weak. This is physiology. And when you understand what's happening, you can make choices, lifestyle supplements, or hormone therapy that support your body through the transition. So for this week, I just want you to go to your handouts and go to the symptom tracker and just start logging your symptoms starting today. See you in the next one.